Hi, here we have an example of an error in ModelSim from the Lab 3 exercise on 7-segment converters. I want to show you how we can debug this error. First of all, notice that all of our data, it looks like just a string of zeros and ones. Well, this is very unhelpful to us since we don't typically think in binary. We did have one test failure, so we have to go and try to figure out what it is. We're going to do a couple things. First of all, we're going to eliminate some of the windows that we have open. Let's go ahead and close, starting at the far left. Let's just click on it a couple times, and we're going to close both of these. Actually, we're going to close this one as well. And so now we have this gray portion that has a lot of things that say like 7-segment C ... Let's expand that just a little bit so we can read what's going on there. Notice that we have, first of all, we have W, X, Y, Z, our inputs, and then we have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, our outputs. All right, and then we have some buses. We can tell that it's a bus because there's a plus sign so that we know there are multiple bits associated with it. I'm just going to open it for a second and then collapse it again. But one thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and just go ahead and get right there on that white line and drag it to the right a little bit farther. I have clicked on my left button and drag it a little bit farther so that I can read these things. And this says test name, test count, test failures, pass, and then my output A to G in a bus form. Just taking the data from here, these outputs, and just actually writing it as a bus. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and right click on this wave area, and I'm just going to go ahead and zoom full so that I can see all of the tests. And as a matter of fact, there I see that little red line, which indicates that's an error has occurred. Now, okay, the next things I'm going to do is I want to know what the names of these tests are, but we saw earlier that these were all written in binary, which didn't help me at all. So I'm going to go ahead and go to radix. Going to click over here and right click and then go to radix and then go to ASCII so that I can read what's going on there. Oops, that didn't help me, did it? Let me see if I can find another radix that might help. Okay, if we just go to decimal, right? And so now, nope, that doesn't help either. I need a name, so obviously I need ASCII. I need ASCII. So we'll go there, and I'm just going to go ahead and just drag this out a little bit so that I can see whether or not I'm going to be able to read these or not. I'm trying to remember what is written there, but this actually is the name 0000 equals 0. So this is saying that my inputs W, X, Y, and Z are all 0. So I'm expecting the character 0. And we know what the character 0 looks like. We know that it should have all of the LEDs on except for G, which is the line in the middle, and so we see that that's the O. If we come down here and look at the bus for the output, we see that 0 indicates that it's on, and so we have the values A through G, and G is off, right, because there are 7 characters there, those being A, B, C, D, E, F, and G is off. This is low true, and so the zeros indicate that it's on, 1 indicates that it's off. Pulling it back in so that we can see all of the information in the Camtasia screen. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and go to where my error is. Actually, let me see if I can do a couple other things. So test failures, that's crazy that it's like that. I'm going to change the radix there to just to decimal. Okay, I only have one error. Now I can read it 0. There were like 32 bits that were associated with that, so hard to read. I just need it in decimal. So I just, again, I right-clicked over here in the gray area, and I went to radix, and then I chose decimal. Okay, so that's the way that works. And then I see that I'm passing test, and then all of a sudden I'm not passing test, right? Let's change this test count. Let's also put that, that's a number. Let's change that to decimal as well. Okay, so now I can see my tests, and obviously I didn't do every single test that was possible. I just did a few tests, and so here my error, the red line says it happened here in test 10, but let me tell you a secret. Actually, the error occurs one time step before that, so I'm going to left click in the area where it says 9, since my error, the red, is under the 10, I'm going to click on that so that I get the yellow line here. And then I want to go ahead and zoom in there because I really want to know what the values of A through G are. Actually, I can read them right here, right? So, but I could zoom in and I could actually read the binary values. And this is what I would see, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 0, telling me that I've got A, B, C is on, and then D and E are off, and F and G are on. And so if we think about what that's going to look like, we would have the right-hand side, the top and the right-hand side on, and then we would have the bottom and the left off, and then we would have the top left and the center on, which looks like the letter 9, except that when we wrote the letter 9, we actually wrote it with a bar at the bottom. Okay, if you take a look at this 9 right here, notice that there's actually, it doesn't just go straight down, it actually sort of curves around. And so when we wrote the letter 9, we actually included LED D. LED D, the bottom, should also be on for your 9. And so that's actually the error in this particular project. So we would need to go through and go back. So we'll go ahead and close this because we want to go ahead and correct this. I'm going to go back to our our .v file, open up our .v file, and then go to the character D, because it was D that had the error, right? And so I just need to add that extra number. So I just want to add 9, okay? And 9 we know would be W ANDed with not X, ANDed with not, whoops, not Y, ANDed with Z, right? And obviously the commutative property holds, so it doesn't matter where you put it. I just happen to put it out here at the end. But it's 9 that I need to add here because that's what I was missing on D. And let me make sure I added it to D. Yes, I think I did. And so we'll go ahead and save that. And at that point, everything should run fine. I'm going to go ahead and stop this Camtasia tutorial.